What's up, everybody? You're here with the Fly Guy. Alright, so I have already done a video kind of doing a quick comparison of my new kayak to my old kayak, and now what I'm going to do is give you an update on the modifications that I did to my kayak. I'm just going to briefly go over what I've done to it so far and kind of some things that I'm going to be doing here in the future. So let's take a look. Okay, so my dogs are outside right now, so if you hear them barking, going nuts, that's what it is. Okay, so I'm going to start at the front of the yak and work backwards. So the first thing that I did was I attached a longer piece of strong paracord to the pole handle for the front, and I attached a carabiner to it so I could clip it out of the way when it's not in use. I have got a pretty long section of cord here, and the reason that I have it this long is so that I don't have to tip the kayak up on the back end when I'm dragging it, and I can kind of pull it like a sled, and that keeps everything level so things don't tip out and spill or, you know, rub up against maybe some vegetation on the side of a trail as I'm pulling it along. There is a kind of a lip in the back of the kayak which makes it kind of tip back and forth when it's up on its back end on, you know, dry land. So that pull cord really helps me keep that level, and it makes dragging it a heck of a lot easier. Also, I put one of my Fly Guy stickers on the front, so there you go. So it's a Fly Guy kayak. One of the main things that I did, and actually the thing that took me the most time, was replacing all the screws with pop rivets. I used 3/16" aluminum pop rivets, and all the bungee clips that were installed on the front of the kayak, as you can see, all those used to be screws. I have actually replaced every single screw with a pop rivet and then relocated a pad eye. So this pad eye right here is identical to the one across from it, and then these two up front. Now I moved them from the original place that the clip was, not only to give me more space, but there's actually more clearance underneath where that pad eye is located. It's kind of hard to see, but as you can see right here, that's way more clearance than those small clips. I could barely get the bungee cord out to begin with, the way that it came from the factory. So having it like this, I could actually use traditional bungee cords with the metal hook, and I can really keep tension on my gear and keep it locked down. Also, Carabiner Clips. These are a kayaker's best friend. I can hook that up anywhere I want and keep that locked in right here up front. Okay, moving towards the middle of the boat. This came stock with the kayak. This isn't a modification, but I only use it if I need to, you know, put my fly rod somewhere and then get back in my crate system, turn around, and get other gear and, you know, just do something else other than, you know, work on a fly rod. So all this does is just sit here to serve that purpose. It's just kind of a convenience thing. But on the middle hatch, the one thing that I did here was attach a ram mount that works off of a ball system, so that both the post here and the camera attachment, I put a 1/2" PVC attachment here so that I could put a small post with an action camera on it. And what that does is that allows me to just get angles right up in front of me. So when I bring a fish in and I want to talk about how I catch it, or, you know, take a picture of a nice fish, that camera mount is going to be able to be angled perfectly so that you can see me face on, and you're not just going to see, you know, footage from the top of my head. I'm going to actually be able to use this mount, rotate it for my purposes, and get a visual of the fish head on, so that's just a different perspective. Again, here with the handles, they were screwed in, and anytime that I see a kayak with screws on it, I automatically want to replace those with pop rivets because I want a watertight seal, and I just feel that over time screws are going to pull out, especially, you know, when you're picking a kayak up by these handles. That's a lot of tension on that plastic. So I went ahead and replaced those with pop rivets, and I applied a generous amount of silicone underneath the plastic here so that it was sealed nice and tight. I did the same thing over on the other side. Of course, I'm not going to do one without the other, and made sure that this was also sealed nice and tight with silicone and pop rivets. And my anchor system, I replicated the anchor system that I did on my first kayak. All I did was put a pop rivet on the side ridge of my boat, basically right along the top of the water line. It's just right above it. And then I put one of these on so that if I needed to, it's stainless. Okay, the big key is stainless here. You want something that's not going to rust over time. And I can unscrew this and take this rope out if I need to. If not, I can keep it locked up. And because this is nice and smooth, this rope slides through it very easily. So I can easily slide this rope through and adjust the position of my anchor. It's beautiful because I don't have to have a complicated pulley system. You know, pulleys don't always work perfectly, and sometimes it frays the paracord over time, or rope that you use, and sometimes they rust. These, I've had these for 5 years, and there isn't a piece of rust on it. And you know, this rope is not going to degrade just touching this metal, because it's not going to have, you know, any rough edges or any rust that's going to fray that paracord. So that cord runs all the way here to the back of the boat. And on the back here I've got the same system. It's just one of these clips, and again, stainless steel. And then in the center of the rope, I tied off a stainless steel ring that I can feed that anchor line through and adjust as necessary. So I'll go ahead and hook that anchor up so you guys can see that. Okay, so I've hooked my anchor up, and what I did is I fed this anchor line. Alright, now I chose to use, I would highly recommend, if you're going to make your own anchor system, that you use a different color of anchor line so that there's contrast and you can see it in the water. I used kind of a fluorescent orange here, and what I did is I fed that through that stainless steel ring and up to this anchor cleat, and this again attached it with the 3/16" pop rivets, and I can just, you know, kind of zigzag that anchor line through that cleat, and it's gonna lock it in place. That anchor's not going to move unless I choose to unwind it and reposition it. Now, my anchor system is pretty straightforward. It's a diver's reel, and on the end of the reel I've got the anchor. I just have a small anchor. I think this is 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds. Let's see here. Yeah, 1.5 pounds, and to the diver's reel, I have this this pool noodle. All right, this is a big section of a pool noodle. Now, the reason I use this is because I can see exactly where my anchor is actually going to be. So if I was out on the water, I would just hit this lever, let the anchor line out, drop it down, and then just throw it over the side with no worries, because this float would then be up on the surface of the water telling me exactly where that diver's reel is and exactly where my anchor line is. So wherever I throw that diver's reel and anchor out, this float is going to be there letting me know wherever it's positioned in the water. That float will let me know where that anchor line and diver's reel is. So I find this a very useful tool. It does take up a little bit more space than if I just had the diver's reel and the anchor, but I get the visual, and I know if I have to completely just let my anchor go for any reason, if I've got to chase after a fish, if I've got to row after a fish, or I come into some awkward situation where I need to get rid of my anchor, if I just let it go and I don't have a float on it, that anchor's gone. But if I keep this float on it, I can come back and get that anchor later. So I would highly recommend doing this, and I'm going to do a separate video on how to make some of this gear. I like to make my own stuff. So this anchor system that I've got set up, it's pretty simple, but I will do a separate video on how to make this, so stay tuned for that. But when I'm not using my anchor, I just stick it behind my seat, and if I need it, all I have to do is just reach behind myself and kind of toss it out. So no big deal there. My seat still works just like normal as if it wasn't back there. So that is the anchor system. Pretty simple, pretty, you know, it's nothing elaborate, but it works. And that does the trick for me. Next thing is that I've got these Inboard Scotty rod holders, and I kind of just threw my anchor line around. Let me get that out of the way. So these Scotty Inboard fly rod holders are just fantastic. I like that they're flush with the deck. Yes, I drilled into this with a big spade bit, but these to me are better because I can literally take these mounts out and plug that up. Now that's not an open hole, okay? That is sealed, all right? You can see it right there. So with that plug, I can just pop that over, and now when I'm transporting the kayak, there's nothing extra up above the deck that's going to catch anything, you know, if I'm, you know, dragging it through brush. And because I can take this off, I can store it in my crate system until I want to use it again. So for me, I just find that to be a little bit easier and simpler. So yes, a little bit more installation time, but totally worth it. And again, pop rivets. I also added a generous amount of silicone to make sure that it wouldn't leak, just to be safe. Now behind the seat here, as you can see, if you can see this pop rivet, that used to be a screw. I did not want any issues with my seat while I'm out there. These pop rivets hold up very well, they're very durable. So I've got one there instead of a screw, and then I have another one here. So I replaced those screws with those pop rivets, and again, I'm getting a watertight seal and more durability. So keep that in mind if you're going to do any modifications to your kayak. Okay, moving to the back here, same thing as with the front of the kayak. I've got pad eyes replacing the plastic clips that were here originally, and every screw I've replaced it with a pop rivet. So watertight seal and more durable. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And these are really important because this is how I anchor my crate system into my kayak. So I have a pretty nice crate system that I made. You know, my crate system is not going to be, you know, the designer model, but it just does the trick. So the hinges are actually made out of zip ties so that I can open a lid. All right, so I've actually got a lid on this. I am going to do a separate video on how to make this crate system. I'm not really going to go into too much detail on how I made the crate system, just kind of how it functions in this video. So stay tuned for that because I will show you how to make a crate out of some basic stuff you probably already have around the house, bungee cord, zip ties, and just some simple plumbing equipment actually. So this is very functional, and what I've done is I basically took the bungee cord that came with the kayak and I weaved it in and out of the base of the crate so that it kind of went in and out of all those little openings. And on each end I made a little loop near the pad eye and I attached a carabiner. So I literally take each one and I attach it one at a time when I'm ready to set up my yak. Boom, I've got the first one done, and I just kind of go around the circle here and I do the same thing to each one. And I just have kind of thrown this stuff around because I'm doing this stuff on the fly, but there's the second one. Here's the third. Now the thing is as I pull this tight on the third and fourth carabiner, it starts to lock this in. By the time I get to the fourth carabiner, this thing is locked in tight. It's not going anywhere. I could tip this kayak this kayak crate is not going to fall off. It is locked to the kayak. So that's kind of my system. As you can see here, I mean, I'm moving the kayak. I'm moving the kayak itself just by tipping the crate. It is really firmly locked in place. So all I did, I took that existing bungee cord that came with the kayak, weaved it in and out of the base of the crate, and then attached carabiners to all four sides of the bungee cord. And it provided me with the perfect amount of tension to lock this crate down. So I'm really thankful for that, because the way that I had it locked in before was kind of cumbersome on my first kayak. I just had like bungee cords with metal hooks on them, and that used to get tangled in my gear. Now it's all out of the way, it's separate, and it's simple to do. It takes me like 20 seconds to lock this down. So perfect there. The other thing that I did is I attached a plumbing fixture to this lid that I made for my kayak crate. So I've got this zip tied down, and I've got a half inch diameter piece of PVC pipe that I spray painted black. I attached a float system to it, and at the top I've got a Gopro mount. Now I can get an aerial view above my kayak of me fishing, and it's going to be a little bit higher up than my previous camera angle. So now you can get a good visual of exactly what I'm doing. You can see fish strikes a little bit better and get some good fight footage from above. So I'm really excited about that. I'm not going to be going into great detail about the camera setup that I'm doing in this video. However, I am going to be doing a separate video on my exact camera setup and how I'm running it. So as of now, I've got the back pole that I use for the aerial view, and then I've got the mount that I put on the center hatch so that I can get a front-on view for when I want to talk about some fish, or maybe even talk about how the day is going. Just something to show me up front, so you're not just looking at the top of my head the whole time. Those are pretty much all the modifications that I've done so far. Again, it's not really anything too complex, but they're just little things that make my life easier. Something that I've added this year to the crate system has been this Plano tackle bag. And this Plano tackle system is just awesome. So right here, I've got my flies. So right behind my seat, I can just reach behind my seat and grab my flies right here. Over here, there's another bag that hangs off this side. I've got my, spare spools. I've got spare spools. I've got, mono and fluorocarbon. I've got sink tips. I've got everything I need here line-wise. Of course, got to keep it legal. Got my fishing license and my kayak registration in there too. So got plenty of gear here on the outside pockets I can access whenever I want. And then here, when I open the kayak crate, I just open that lid, and I've got another top pocket. I've got paracord and some zip ties in here. If anything goes wrong and I need it, I've got a knife here in the top pocket. I've got some microfiber towels so I can get fish slime off of me. And then if I want to access the inside of the crate, it's got a liner so I can keep like a sweatshirt in here. I make my own little floats for my action cameras out of pool noodles. I am going to do a video on that to show you how to do that. It's really cheap and easy to do, and it saves you from losing cameras to the drink. Huge. If you are video recording or doing any type of photography work near water, making a simple float system rather than trying to buy all kinds of floats for your cameras is going to be really beneficial to you in saving money. So I will do a video on those as well, so stay tuned for that. And then I keep some extra, camera gear. I've got my chest mount, a little flexible tripod and a floating stick for my GoPro. So the bag that I got for my crate system is the Plano 3600 kayak crate system. I really love it. It really turned my crate system into an organized tool that I'm really proud of. It's just made life so much easier, and I've only used it a couple times this year. It's brand new for this season, so super thankful for having this. It's just made my gear organization a lot better. The one thing I am going to share about this GoPro mount on the back of the crate is that because I have the pocket storage and because I can fit a waterproof bag inside my crate, I am able to run a specialized mount system where I can plug in an external battery and run a cord all the way down into a waterproof bag in my crate. So now I can run that camera all day when I'm out fishing and it will not die, because it only uses, I think last Sunday I was out for, gosh, I want to say 6 hours, and it used 25% of my battery pack. So I could literally fish for 2 days, 3 days straight on one battery pack and still not kill it. So that's a big deal for me. It's going to enable me to get a lot more footage and a lot better shots. And I just don't want to miss anything. And then just some fun stuff. I got a Hairline dubbing sticker here on the back. I have an account with Hairline. As you guys know, I'm a huge fly tire. So definitely want to support them. They are a great company, and they just have some of the best fly tying materials around. If you have a fly shop near you that carries these products, go out and support them. Support your local fly shop and get materials from Hairline, because they will give you quality every time. And then also I've got my Ohio Watercraft sticker. I've got it turned the other way so that just in case one of the Rangers or Watercraft Patrol wants to check it out, they can see it easily, because they're going to be above me anyway, since I'm going to be pretty low in the water in my kayak. So far, these are the modifications that I've done to the kayak. I am going to be doing more. I just haven't done it all yet. It's going to be done in stages. And, you know, I keep some extra equipment in the existing rod holders in the back. I'm trying to always figure out ways to have better organized gear storage. But one thing I am going to change is the seat. Not going to lie here, the seat pad sucks. Alright? I'm going to end up having like slip discs in my back or something if I keep sitting on this thing. This thing is like literally sitting on the plastic. It's almost like the pad doesn't exist. So I'm going to have to get some type of gel pad or something that's got just a little bit more cushion. I'm going to be old before my time if I keep sitting on this thing. The back seat is great. The foam on this seat is actually really nice. It's kind of firm, but it provides a lot of support. It's a lot better than the seat on the previous kayak, and I actually like this part. But this right here, total trash. So I'm going to have to replace that and just get something that's going to be a little bit more comfortable and, not give me back problems later on down the line. And actually something I forgot to mention was I did put these heavy-duty rubber scupper plugs in here. Now, when I say heavy-duty scupper plug, that does not mean I spent a ton of money on this. I spent for both of these, it was like $1.50 with free shipping. So all I did was get those in and plug them in. They do not come loose, and it keeps me from having jets of water come up, into my back and stuff, when I'm rowing and fishing. So I don't know why they put scupper holes right here. They do have 2 here, and they have 4 in the back. So I don't really understand why they're here, but they probably need it for drainage, because the first place it goes is, on your seat. But either way, I plugged them up because I didn't really feel like I needed them. So if you are rowing and you forget to latch this, and these kind of pop up a little bit, these sometimes will pop up. I know I kind of got in and out of my kayak a little bit last time I used it, and some water did seep in through here. I didn't take on a lot of water. It's not that the kayak leaked. It's watertight. But if this flips up even a little bit, from getting in and out of the kayak and you're tipping from side to side, water's coming up through the scupper holes, and it'll come up right here, and sometimes it'll leak in through these ports. So just be aware of that if you do get this kayak, just to kind of keep an eye on that. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's not like you're going to sink this kayak. That you'd almost have to try to do it. It'd be impossible. But just something to keep an eye out for if you use it. I am a guy who likes to give credit where credit is due. So originally in my first video I talked about how there was a hatch just like this one directly behind my seat where my crate is sitting. Okay, so right below this crate, there's another hatch. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that right now. So as you can see, I just took the crate off from behind my seat, and there's another one of those inboard hatches. Now, the first thing I was concerned about on my first video was, how am I going to incorporate this crate system on top of that hatch without having my crate sit unlevel, become wobbly, or potentially fall off, even when it was latched down? And one of my subscribers left me a comment with a great tip. And I want to give a shout out to him, and I hope I'm saying this right, but the subscriber's name is Lil Mashad, and he left me a comment stating that if I cut the top off of another crate and attached it to the bottom of my existing crate system, that I would be able to put it over top this hatch. And he was 100% correct. So, if you look here, I took the top off another crate and I zip tied it. It's kind of hard to see here. Let me roll it over. So I took the top off another crate and I zip tied it to the bottom. Okay? I like using zip ties because if they break, no biggie, I can always replace it super easy. I always have extra zip ties on me on the water. So, zip tied that to the bottom, and now there's a hollow bottom to this crate system. So, I take the crate and set it right over top the hatch. Boom. And it sits level. It's perfect. I love it. I just want to thank Lil Mashad for leaving me that comment and giving me that idea. That was really awesome. I will put a link in the description to his channel. Go check his channel out. And again, thanks for that. That's really helped me out. And I hope that passing this tip along will help some of you out as well, especially if you get this kayak or you have a kayak that might have an inboard hatch in the back and you want to make it a little bit more useful. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the modifications that I did to this kayak. I am going to do a couple videos regarding kind of making your own kayak gear, making floats for your cameras and other accessories that you don't want to lose and sink to the bottom of a river or a lake. I'm also going to teach you how to make a crate system on a budget, and I hope that'll help you out too, because having a crate system on a kayak is just an invaluable resource, and it helps you really organize and store your gear. I'm also going to do some videos on my specific camera setup for my kayak, because I think that needs a separate video unto itself. Just having, you know, good camera angles and being able to mount cameras effectively on your kayak, that takes a little bit of explanation, so I'm going to do a separate video there. And I'm also going to do a video on how to make the anchor system as well. So, you know, just a simple anchor setup that you can float and keep out of your way if you need to detach it from the kayak, if you're fighting a fish or you need to row out of trouble and you can come back and get it. It'll be floating there for you, ready to go. Alright everybody, so I just wanted to apologize. I did lose some light there. I was filming this video right up against dark, and the sun just set really fast and I wasn't able to finish the video. So I'm back in my fly tying area, and I just wanted to close and finish this video up by saying that there's going to be a long list of product links in the description. So check those out. All the things that I mentioned in the video will be there, and you can check those out. If they can help you in any way and they can, you know, help you get your kayak modded up the way that you want, go for it. That's what this video is designed to do. Nothing that I did to my kayak was really too elaborate. It was just a lot of simple things that just make life easier out there on the water. So I hope what I shared with you helped you out a little bit. I am going to be posting a few more videos here soon, and I am going to be posting a video on my new drone. This drone is really cool. It's a lot better than the drone I had before. And I've learned a lot in the past year just on how to use camera equipment, drones, the whole 9 yards. I was kind of green coming into it, so this video is going to be great. I'm going to have some sample footage and just kind of show you what I have and what I'm looking to do with it. So stay tuned for that. And I am fishing as regularly as possible, so there's going to be some fishing videos up and posted here as well. So stay tuned for those. If you like this video and it helped you out in any way with your kayak, go ahead and hit thumbs up. And I am going to be posting a lot of videos, so now would be a good time to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have a lot of content coming out on camera gear, fly fishing gear, all kinds of fly fishing videos, and I'm also going to be doing fly tying demos as well. I always do stuff like that, so stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Take care, and we'll catch you next time.